morning, everybody. Alright, okay, sorry. When you see cannabis, what is the first thing that pops into your mind? Stoner or addict or
Plants.
anything? Yeah. Well, the first thing that pops into my mind is how weed helps people with cancer out. So, yeah. Even though it seems I don't have a vast experience with weed or cancer, I kind of do because I've been doing this research for a couple of months because my uncle passed away from cancer a couple of months ago. So ever since then, I've been doing my research. And I'm sure most people know someone that has cancer, or because the rate of people diagnosed with cancer has been going up lately. Or, but if you haven't, lucky you, and I hope that never happens. Today I'll be first give you some background info on both cannabis and cancer, then I'll give you some studies. I'll show you studies that have been done about how cannabis affects cancer, and then I will show you two testimonies about people that have been affected with cancer and use cannabis to treat their cancer. First thing I want to inform you guys is on some basic information on both cannabis and cancer. Mankind has been smoking marijuana for recreational medical purposes since the dawn of time, and now it's being used to treat serious illnesses like AIDS, arthritis, cancer, and many more illnesses. First, marijuana is a plant that grows from soil and doesn't need any chemicals to grow. It grows either in sativa or indica form. And sativa is the one on the left. It's a more skinny, tall, lanky, and less yielding plant and produces a more mind high. And the one on the right, indica, it's more of a small, broad, and usually higher yielding plant that gives you body high. And that's Blue Dream, and that's Master Bubble Kush, if you guys want to know. Like I said earlier, marijuana is used to treat pain, especially neuropathic pain, which is pain from nerve damage, and also a powerful appetite stimulant. Two main cannabinoids found in marijuana are tetrahydrocannabinol and cannabidiol, which is CBD and THC. THC is the principal psychoactive drug found in marijuana, which produces the kind of trippy high. And CBD doesn't have a psychoactive effect, but it has medical applications towards epilepsy, multiple sclerosis, spasms, anxiety disorders, and schizophrenia and nausea. Now, cancer is a cell that has an immortality, according to lungcancer.about.com. Cancer cells don't stop growing like normal cells do. They just keep on growing, and they never die because they're kind of immortal, or it's a mutation. Cancer cells also invade other regions of the body, and oops, I messed up. That was sorry about that. That was the THC compound and the CBD compound, and that's cancer. You see, normal cancer cells are average and they stop growing, but the cancer cells never stop growing, and it's a mutation which causes a tumor or something like that. The most common way to treat cancer is through using chemotherapy or radiation therapy. Chemotherapy is a systematic therapy, which means it affects your whole body, and it's the use of any drug to treat any disease. As you may know, different drugs have different side effects, but generally they always leave the patient with decreased blood cell count, hair loss, weight loss, nausea, and other worse side effects. And then the other one is radiation therapy, which uses high energy radiation to shrink tumors and kill cancer cells. Some side effects of radiation can be damage to bowels, memory loss, infertility, and rarely a second cancer caused by radiation, according to the National Cancer Institute. Now that you guys are more aware with both marijuana and cancer, let's see the facts that have been discovered about marijuana effects on cancer. Even though marijuana is a Schedule I drug under federal law, there still has been some studies to find out what the actual effects were. The first study I want to show you guys was done in 2009 by Guillermo Velasco and his team at Complutense University in Spain. They've done a study to suggest that cannabinoids like tetrahydrocannabinol, which is found in marijuana, has anti-cancer effects on human brain cancer cells. THC induces death of various human brain cancer cells, lines, and cultured human brain cancer cells by a process called autophagy, which is a meditated cell death through stimulus of ER stress in human glioma cells. And glioma cells are a type of tumor that starts in the brain or spine. Another study done by Cristina Sanchez, a biologist in Complutense University in Madrid, the same one as the other study. She found cannabinoids in marijuana show slow cancer growth, stop formation of new cells that feed tumors, and help out with the side effects. She used brain cancer cells because they grow faster than normal cancer cells, so it'll be a faster experiment. And every time the cancer cells were exposed to THC, they died. So THC was induced apoptosis, which is cell death in the glioma cells. And as you can see, these are normal brain cancer cells. That's after body being introduced to THC, and there's less brain cells, but you see the cancer cells or the brain tumor cells also went away, and in both cases. The third case I'll show you is the Spanish scientist team led by Manuel Guzman conducted the first clinical trial assessing the additional action of THC on humans. A patient with glioblastoma who failed with other treatments were administered with pure THC with a catheter into their tumors. And all patients showed significant reduced tumor cell growth or spread when they were inserted with it. And the fourth one I'd like to tell you guys about is Dr. Sean McAllister, scientist from Pacific Medical Center in San Francisco, who has been studying cannabinoid compounds for 10 years and has a DEA grant and federal grant, or he has DEA permission and a federal grant to do the testing, which is weird because it's a Schedule I drug, so it's kind of good. And then he discovered a cannabinoid, CBD, found in marijuana, is a potent inhibitor in breast cancer proliferation, proliferation means rapid increase or reproduction of cancer cells, and metastasis and tumor growth. Metastasis is the development of secondary malignant growth of a distance from the first site of the cancer where the cancer cell began. Alright. Now that you know more about this picture here is breast cancer cells right here, and after the treatment of CBD, you can see that they were gone, most of it. And now that you know more about the actual scientific facts about the effects of cannabis on cancer, I would like to show you some real life stories about people who have experienced them firsthand. If I finish, time's up.
Well,
You keep going.
you keep going as long as you want, but the longer you go, it's going to have a consequence.
All right.
I hate to.
Okay. I don't like kind of mess up. According to cancer.org, there has been estimated 12 million people diagnosed with cancer since January 1, 2009. Alright, the first example I want to show you is from the Oregonian newspaper about a 7-year-old girl named Michaela Comstock suffering from leukemia. Now she used medical marijuana to help her nausea and her symptoms go down. She either ate a ginger snap cookie or a brownie, or she was injected with THC oil. And the marijuana relaxes her or energizes her and relieves her pain, stimulates her appetite, and eases her nausea to put her to sleep. And she is still suffering with cancer, but she's still using THC to help her out currently. Another story I'd like to tell you guys about is about Mike Hyde's 3-year-old boy who was diagnosed with brain cancer. His name was Cash. His son was discovered with a stage 4 brain tumor on May of 2010, And then Cash went through 3 cycles of chemotherapy and was receiving maximum amounts of anti-nausea medications. And after all that, Cash was still not, he got better, but he wasn't able to move. He was in a medical induced coma for 40 days. So then his dad secretly started giving him THC oil through his catheter in his stomach, where they were feeding him, and all his Alright, so once he started giving the THC oil, his stomach lining got better which was damaged from the chemotherapy. His liver got better. When he awoke, the doctor said he was gonna have brain damage and wasn't gonna be able to move and probably die soon. But the same December, the same year, he got better and he left the hospital walking away. They called him the Christmas miracle. And well, today I've talked about marijuana and cancer and the actual test of how marijuana affects cancer and a couple of testimonies using marijuana to treat cancer. As you can clearly see, marijuana has a strong effect in fighting cancer in biological and in a psychological way. In 1988, Francis Young, a DA administrative law judge, said, in strict medical terms, marijuana is far safer than any foods we commonly consume. For example, eating 10 raw potatoes can result in a toxic response. By comparison, it is physically impossible to eat enough marijuana to induce death. Marijuana in its natural form is one of the safest therapeutic active substance known to man. By any measure of rational analysis, marijuana can be safely used within the supervised routine of medical care. And that's it. Do I stay up here?
No, I wouldn't. You don't need to stay there. That makes you a target. We rushed into this, and I didn't remind people who were supposed to be doing. We're supposed to be doing the eval. Hang on a second. I got. So Rev is supposed to do the written evaluation. Kevin's supposed to do the oral evaluation. Kevin, what did you think? Kevin's not here? Here's your chance.
Oh, Kevin's not here. You want to do it?
Oh, yeah.
Because you're not going to be here, right?
Yeah, I might have to do
So tell us what you thought.
Okay, I thought your speech was great, but it's something very common that everyone talks about. But I like how you related the story to yourself, even because of your uncle, right?
Mm-hmm.
But it went on too long, obviously, and I think you could have just ended with one testimony, just the one with the kid that he got saved with the oil treatment that his father was giving him. I think that at some point you did go off a little bit topic, just, I don't know, just talking too much about the cancer itself. And you weren't really relating it to the cannabis. I think one of your strong points was
Well, don't panic. I know we kind of jumped you with this one, so
yeah.
it's okay. It's all right. Let me go ahead and offer a few comments because we need to move on. We've already been doing this for 15 minutes. I think you need a little bit stronger attention device. I'd use the story about your uncle instead of asking a rhetorical question. We know what the topic is pretty quickly. I think you need to have a clear thesis statement because it really doesn't seem like the purpose is as clear as the preview of the contents is, and that seemed a little bit strange. Actually, the preview also suggests that you're just labeling some of the information that's in that point. You're not telling us what that information proves or what it's in aid of. It's like this, and then I've got a couple examples, and then I've got research. So what you really want to do is say, for instance, on that third point, I want to show you some examples of research where this is the case. You want to say, I want to show you that marijuana has these medical benefits and that there's research to back it up, something like that, as opposed to, and I want to present to you 3 studies that support that. That just sounds awkward when you present it. I thought you did a pretty good job citing your information during the speech. There were a couple of times early on when you didn't cite that information. I'd agree about the going off topic. I think what you need to do is cut out most of the stuff on cancer, because you need to keep it very basic. The problem with cancer is that the cell growth is out of control. We don't, you add a visual, you go on with these explanations. That takes up a lot of time and gives you less time for the research stuff that you have later on in the speech. When you got to the end and you were a little bit stuck on time, I kind of agree that maybe it would have been a good idea to stick to one example and cut it down to that particular point. The visuals were, I thought, pretty effective when it came to the studies and your comparisons on the slides of the cancer cell activity versus the normal activity. I thought that made the point pretty effectively. You need to be a little bit more familiar with the terminology, because it's complicated. Sometimes saying those things is awkward, and you need to practice a little bit more, because it sounds like you're just reading it and get a little energy. Sounds like you smoked out before you came to class, as opposed to had a cup of coffee and got energetic. I didn't. I was just making a joke. You just sound so mellow and slow and calm. I didn't mean to imply that. I was just making a bad joke there. But you just seem like you're so going through it, and I got to do this. I got to do this. You need to get a little bit more energy into your presentation. Like I said, have a cup of coffee or something.